Normal. This type is a neutral type of Pokémon with no particular powers or abilities. They are just regarded as a typical animal or Pokémon with moves that cannot inflict damage on other Pokémon types only if it's physical. Normal type Pokémon are weak compared to other types. Examples of normal type Pokémon include Pidgey, Furret, Aipom, Ursaring, Slaking, Snorlax, Eevee, and Wooloo. The normal type has various moves like the Tackle, Blood Moon, Body Slam, Camouflage, Scratch, and many others. These moves are mostly physical due to the little presence of special moves in the normal type Pokémon. Normal moves are not very effective against Rock and Steel. Normal moves have no effect on Ghost. Ghosts also have no effect on Normal, and Fighting is super effective on Normal. Fighting. Fighting type, just like its name, are Pokémon who are capable of fighting. They have both the build and strength for fighting. The fighting type of Pokémon depends mainly on their physical skills. These Pokémon are mostly given human body structure, which makes them similar to martial arts practitioners. Some fighting type Pokémon are Lucario, Machamp, Annihilate, and many others. The fighting type Pokémon can learn physical moves from other Pokémon types, which gives it the ability to counterattack its opponent and also cover up its weakness. Some of their moves include Aura Sphere, Focus Blast, Focus Punch, and Close Combat. Fighting type moves are super effective against Normal, Rock, Ice, Dark, and Steel. Its moves are not very effective against Poison, Flying, Psychic, Bug, and Fairy, and it has no effect on Ghost. Bug, Rock, and Dark are not very effective against fighting Pokémon, while Flying, Psychic, and Fairy are super effective against flying-type Pokémon. Fire. It is one of the three basic elemental types along with water and grass. This special Pokémon type is very powerful, given their ability to wield fire and cause effective damage to the Steel-type Pokémon whose defense is typically high but relatively low in special defense. They are relatively fast and have high attack status, which makes them very good offensive Pokémon. The Fire-type Pokémon is fragile in nature. Though very destructive, they do not last long in battle. They are also immune to burns, seeing as they are the ones wielding fire. Some fire Pokémon are pure, meaning they fully rely on their fire skills, while others are half, either primary or secondary. When in contests, the fire type uses either beauty, tough, or smart moves to their advantage. Some moves like Sunny Day, Flare Blitz, Fire Blast, and Flame Charge are also beneficial during battles. Fire moves are super effective against Grass, Ice, Bug, and Steel. The moves are not very effective against Fire, Water, Rock, and Dragon. In the same vein, Fire, Grass, Ice, Bug, Steel, and Fairy are not super effective against Fire type, while Ground, Water, and Rock are super effective. Water. They are based on animals living in or around water. Water-type Pokémon have balanced characteristics, with the ability to learn new moves, basically Ice Beam or Ice Punch to attack Dragon and Grass-type Pokémon and can cause effective harm to Ground and Rock types. They are also very strong in terms of defense. They can use vicious moves against grass types, and are also capable of learning some fire-type moves such as Fire Blast and Flamethrower. Grades Milituck, Oshawott, Tapu Fini, Vaporeon are Pokémon under this category. Water-type Pokémon have high resistance, which makes their defense skills high. Their moves cause effective harm like the Aqua Cutter move, which can cause damage to the opponent adjacent to it, Bouncy Bubble, Chilling Water, Dive, Vicious Rend, and various others. Water moves are super effy in against Fire, Ground, and Rock. Its moves are not very effective against Water, Grass, and Dragon. For its defense, the moves of Fire, Water, Ice, and Steel are not very effective against Water Pokémon. Electric and Grass moves are super effective. Flying. Flying-type Pokémon is a powerful Pokémon that can fly. Their physical attributes are very similar to birds. Nearly every flying type has the flying as the secondary type. Tornadoes, Rookidee, and Corviscare are Pokémon under this type. They have various moves used to attack and defend themselves during battles like the Air Slasher, which is used to attack their opponent. It can target any Pokémon around the user. The Brave Bird attack is also an offensive attack that is known to be very destructive, and many more exciting moves are used in battles. Flying moves are super effective against Grass, Fighting, and Bug, but they are not very effective against Electric, Rock, and Steel. Ground has no effect on flying. Grass, Fighting, and Bug are not very effective on flying, and Electric, Ice, and Rock type are super effective on the flying type Pokémon. Grass. It is a special type of Pokémon. that is either pure plant or has plant-like attributes like having a leaf, a bunch of leaves, wood, and other plant features. The grass-type Pokémon are very common. They are the most fragile of all Pokémon types. Succumbing to their weakness, grass types are known not to be on the offensive or defensive type of the Pokémon types. They lean more on being supportive by pairing with some other type like the bug type during battles. These Pokémon are known to be modest and simple since they are one of the most common and early type Pokémon. Bulbasaur, Venusaur, Torterra, Snivy, and Meowscar are some Pokémon under this category. Though they pair with some other Pokémon types when necessary, pure breeds can still learn some badass moves that would really help during battles. Moves like Energy Ball have the ability to lower the opponent's special defense. Grass Knot move relies on the weight of the opponent to weigh the amount of damage that would be done. Wood Hammer, used to hit the opponent with reliable accuracy, and many other moves that can be used by the grass-type Pokémon. Grass moves are super effective against water, ground, and rock. Grass moves are not very effective against fire, grass, poison, flying, bug, dragon, and steel. Water, electric, grass, and ground are not very effective against the Pokémon. Fire, ice, poison, flying, and bug are super effective against grass-type Pokémon. Poison. This Pokémon type has venomous features similar to snakes and other poisonous animals or plants. They have the ability to harm their opponent by poisoning them and letting them fester till they are severely injured. They inject their venom through stings or bites. Gengar, Clodsire, Coughing, and Pecharunt are some of the Pokémon in this category. Known to be venomous, they have various moves that can quickly annihilate their opponent, or cause an ailment like the Acid Gas, which has 90% accuracy in administering an ailment to their opponent. Gastro Acid usually cancels an opponent's ability, making their opponent moveless. Corrosive Gas, Toxic, Baneful Bunker, and many other moves used in battles. The Poison-type Pokémon, while in offensive state, have no effect against the Steel type and are not very effective against Poison, Ground, Rock, and Ghost types. However, they are super effective against the Grass and Fairy-type Pokémon. While in a defensive state, Grass, Fighting, Poison, Bug, and Fairy are not very effective against Poison-type Pokémon, and the Ground and Psychic Pokémon are super effective against Poison. Electric. This Pokémon type can control lightning and electricity and use it as a weapon for attack or defense. Offensively, Electric-type Pokémon pairs with other types like the Ice type to cover up its weakness. Some Pokémon in this type are Pikachu, Raichu, Pichu, and Miraidon. Buzzy Buzz, Bolt Strike, and Catastropika are some moves used by Electric Pokémon types. Electric type has a certain amount of speed, which enables it to have the upper hand during battle. It is super effective against water and flying Pokémon. Its moves are not very effective against electric, grass, and dragon. Its moves have no effect on ground. Electric, flying, and steel are not very effective against electric. Ground is super effective against electric Pokémon. Ground. Their powers are similar to the earth, using the ground as their safe haven. They are mostly seen in caves, deserts, or rocky areas. They have the ability to create sandstorms, earthquakes, and rocks in times of battle, using it to conquer their opponent. Since the ground-type's strong forte is the ground, they are not immune to flying-type Pokémon, which causes them major harm. Once paired, they are usually very strong. Sandshrew, Clodsire, Ursaluna, and Garchomp are Pokémons in this category. Some ground-type moves are really powerful with strength and with additional effect. They can make a battle favor them. The High Horsepower, Drill, Thousand Arrows, Thousand Waves, and Land's Wrath are moves the ground type uses during battles. Ground moves are super effective against fire, electric, poison, rock, and steel. Ground moves are not very effective against grass and bug. Ground moves have no effect on flying. Electric types have no effect on ground. Poison and rock are very effective against ground Pokémon. Water, grass, and ice are super effective against ground Pokémon. Psychic. Among the most common Pokémon types are the Psychic type. They are very intelligent, curious, and manipulative Pokémon types due to their ability to attack with their minds. They have high special status and low physical skills. Even without physical skills, Psychic-type Pokémon have the upper hand against the Fighting type. Due to their ability to control the mind, they would easily counter every attack thrown at them. This is also the reason Steel-type Pokémon would be able to resist them because they are mostly made of machines and do not have a mind or thought. with Mewtwo, Alakazam, Metagross, Gardevoir, and Mr. Mime being some of the Pokémon known to be in this category. The Psychic Pokémon got special moves used in battles. The Agility move is used for speed. This move depends on the kind of battle the Pokémon is in. In a battle where speed is necessary, the Agility move would be perfect. The Dream Eater is another move used by a Psychic. This move helps heal the user by exchanging damage done to it with a sleeping Pokémon. Also, the Hypnosis is a very good move that can put the opponent to sleep if it hits its target. These moves and many more assist Psychic-type Pokémon in the games. While other types have various moves, the Psychic type has only 5 moves which are in the physical category: the Psycho Out, Zen Headbutt, Heart Stamp, Psyshield Bash, and Psyblade. Psychic moves are super effective against fighting and poison. They're not very effective against Psychic and Steel. Psychic moves have no effect on Dark. Fighting and Psychic are not very effective against Psychic Pokémon. Bug, Ghost, and Dark are super effective against Psychic. Rock. It is a defensive Pokémon with the ability to shield itself from any attacks. They are mostly made of rocks and stones, while some are made from fossils, genetically preserved materials that are brought back to life. Rock-type Pokémon are quite rare and are relatively small in number. Their moves can be used against fire, ice, bug, and flying Pokémon types. Sudowoodo, Rockruff, Lycanroc, Garganacci, and many more Pokémon are in this category. The Rock-type Pokémon has its physical moves and special moves. However, they have the least special moves. The Power Gem, which is a Rock-type move introduced in the 4th generation, enables them to possess a gem within their body, and this gem shines during battles, indicating that the creature is in battle mode. The Continental Crush was introduced in the 7th generation, and it enables them to summon huge rocks to crush their opponent. The Ancient Power, which was introduced in the 2nd generation, enables a Pokémon to use prehistoric powers against its opponents. Rock moves are super effective against fire, ice, flying, and bug. These moves are not very effective against fighting, ground, and steel. Normal, fire, poison, and flying are not very effective against rock. Water, grass, fighting, ground, and steel against rock. Ice. They have the smallest number of Pokémon. With the obvious ability to wield ice, they can survive in relatively low temperatures like mountains, frozen caves, taverns, and poles. Their major move is to freeze their opponent to prevent it from attacking until the ice melts. Lapras, Articuno, Jinx, Cloyster, Glalie, and Glaceon are some Pokémon in this Pokémon type. The Ice-type Pokémon has 33 moves and unique combinations. Some of these moves are Sheer Cold, which instantly knocks out the opponent, and Ice Ball, which is a signature move of Sphael, an Ice-type Pokémon. This move automatically continues 5 rounds while increasing its power in each round. Blizzard, Ice Beam, and Aurora Beam are some other moves used by the Ice-type Pokémon. Ice pairs well with other attacking types to use their strength to cover up their weakness. Unfortunately, they are the least resistant Pokémon type. They are only resistant to themselves, which makes them immune to snow, ice, or sheer cold. Ice moves are super effective against grass, ground, flying, and dragon. Ice moves are not very effective against fire, water, ice, and steel. Ice is not very effective against ice Pokémon. Fire, fighting, rock, and steel are super effective against ice Pokémon. Bug. Bug-type Pokémon have some semblance with the real-world arthropods such as bugs, spiders, beetles, butterflies, and various other insects. They are majorly found in the forest or on trees. They are known for their fast growth, which gives some of the Pokémon with the bug type the ability to evolve fast. Caterpie, Metapod, Weedle, Paras, and Kakuna are Pokémon types in this category. Bug-type Pokémon have about 34 moves which were introduced in different generations, with the 4th generation having most moves introduced. 4 moves in the 1st generation, 3 in the 2nd generation, 3 in the 3rd generation, 7 in the 4th generation, 4 in the 5th, 4 in the 6th, 4 in the 7th, 3 in the 8th, and 2 in the 9th generation. Some of these moves are Bug Bite, Attack Order, Fell Stinger, Heal Order, and Infestation. Bug moves are super effective against Grass, Psychic, and Dark. Its moves are not very effective against Fire, Fighting, Poison, Flying, Ghost, Steel, and Fairy. And for its defense move, Grass, Fighting, and Ground are not very effective against Bug. Fire, Flying, and Rock are super effective against Bug. Dragon. Dragon Pokémon are bulky with reptiles features also having wings to fly. They have lofty appearance with a notable amount of strength and mystical aura. Some Pokémon in this category include Altaria, Dragonite, Kingdra, Dratini, Garchomp, and Salamence. Dragon types have a total number of 31 moves and 93 species as of the 9th generation. The Dragon-type Pokémon, with its unique features, has various abilities which includes the ability to levitate. They have the ability to fly, which makes them have leverage over the ground-type Pokémon. They have multi-scale, which gives it the ability to resist powerful attacks. Inner Focus ability, which allow the Dragon-type Pokémon wield intense ability of resistance. They also have Rough Skin, which causes damage to their opponent. The Mold Breaker feature allows Dragon-type Pokémon to disregard damages inflicted on it. Sheer Force gives them the ability to increase the rate at which they cause harm to their opponent by 30%. The Dragon's Maw, which is an ability in recent generations, allows the Dragon-type Pokémon to cause greater damage to their opponent by boosting the Dragon-type's power. All these abilities give the Dragon-type Pokémon a great deal of advantage during battles. Some of its moves include Breaking Swipe, Clanging Scales, Devastating Drake, Fickle Beam, and Roar of Time. Dragon moves are super effective against Dragon. Its moves are not very effective against Steel, and it has no effect on Fairy. Fire, Water, Electric, and Grass are not very against Dragon Pokémon. Ice, Dragon, and Fairy are super effective against Dragon Pokémon. Ghost. These Pokémon types are mostly related to fear or afterlife. They live in abandoned houses, caves, graveyards, or dark areas. They are sometimes goofy, and other times very murderous. Gengar, Ghastly, Annihilape, and Poltergeist are some Pokémon in the Ghost type. There are 34 Ghost type moves, which were introduced in different generations. They have the most accurate moves, some of it being Astonish, Confuse, Destiny Bond, Hex, and Infernal Parade. In battles, they are known to defend themselves by running from the battle. They also have a Curse-type attack strategy, which works differently for Ghost-type than it does for others. Wanting to attack, other Pokémon types do not match the Ghost-type when paired with Fighting-type due to the other type's inability to resist their attacks. They are very few, with only 60 Pokémon under this type. Though they are referred to as Ghost-type due to it being a spirit, certain Ghost types can surprisingly get killed. Ghost moves are super effective against Psychic and Ghost, but Ghost moves are not very effective against Dark. It has no effect on Normal. Normal and Fighting have no effect against Ghost Pokémon. Poison and Bug are not very effective, while Ghost and Dark are not super effective against Ghost Pokémon. Dark. The Dark type have features that are wild and irrepressible, having the tendencies of being aggressive at all times. They thrive in destruction and will inflict it on their opponent if needed. They were introduced in order to counter Psychic-type Pokémon and are mostly used by evil organizations. They were considered Special-type Pokémon till they switched to Physical, which made them more lethal. They are unique Pokémon types, and a total of 69 Pokémon like Umbreon, Tyranitar, Greninja, and Darkrai are categorized under this type, making them among the rare types. Some moves that make it quite lethal include the Dark Void, which puts its opponent to sleep, Hone Claw, which gives them the ability to boost their stats and reduce their opponents, and False Surrender, which enables their opponent to lower their guard till they can strike easily. Dark moves are super effective against Psychic and Ghost. Dark moves are not very effective against Fighting, Dark, and Fairy. Psychics have no effect on Dark Pokémon. Ghost and Dark are not very effective against Dark Pokémon. Fighting, Bug, and Fairy are super effective against Dark Pokémon. Steel. It has similar features to that of metals. Being made of steel gives the ability to be immune to Psychic type. Due to its lack of mind, the Psychic cannot mess with its thinking. They are also immune to poison types. Though most Pokémon under this type look like basic metal objects, some are biological organisms with metal attached to their body as armor. Some of the Pokémon in this category include Mega Mawile, Aron, Lyron, and Aggron. The Steel type has 39 moves, such as the Magnet Bomb that reduces a target's defense, Iron Defense, which raises the user's defense higher by 2 stages, and Iron Head, which enables target flinching, and they have the most resistance. The Steel type has great defense against both physical and special attacks. They also have a high rate of resistance, which makes them easy to defend themselves during battles. Steel-type Pokémon have the ability to draw powers from light, which enables them to attack their opponent. Due to their weakness on ground, they combine with ground-type Pokémon in order to be more feral during battles. Steel moves are very super effective against Ice, Rock, and Fairy. Its moves are not very effective against Fire, Water, Electric, and Steel. Poison has no effect on Steel Pokémon. Normal, grass, ice, flying, psychic, bug, rock, dragon, steel, and fairy were not very effective on steel Pokémon. Fire, fighting, and ground are super effective against steel Pokémon. Fairy. They were introduced to counter the dark and dragon Pokémon. They have the highest amount of special moves. These Pokémon types are generally known to be beautiful, elegant, and cute. They are regarded as light due to their magical aura. Given their ability to purify objects, they are also psychic, which makes them resistant to the psychic-type Pokémon. They are mysterious beings mainly based on mythical creatures. Some fairy-type Pokémon include Florges, Spritzee, Aromatisse, and Swirlix. Many fairy-type Pokémon are known to be cute, while some others are dangerous and tricky. Some moves are like a charm that lowers its opponent's guard, misty terrain that counterattacks, and dazzling gleam that can affect all its opponents on the field. Fairy moves are super effective against fighting, dragon, and dark. Fairy moves are not very effective against fire, poison, and steel. Dragon types have no effect on fairy Pokémon. Fighting, bug, and dark are not very effective against fairy Pokémon. Poison and steel are super effective against fairy Pokémon. So what do you think of these Pokémon? Which do you consider the most lethal and the one with the most weaknesses? Kindly let us know in the comment section. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.